This video is part one of a trilogy of walks and photographic explorations on one of the offshoots from the Grand Union Canal, known as the Wendover Arm. From Bulbourne Junction near Tring, Hertfordshire, it winds its way through a rural landscape to Wendover in Buckinghamshire. It's a tad under 7 miles, following the towpath for most of the way. Only 1.5 miles is navigable, from Bulbourne to just beyond Tringford pumping station, and a little beyond is as far as I shall go this morning. So, starting from the reservoirs, which are a haven for bird life, as you may have seen, they've also become nature reserves, but were built to supply water for the Grand Union Canal. I've always found walking canal towpaths and disused railway tracks gives a fresh perspective on familiar territory in your local area. Good morning. So this is the Grand Union Canal, which stretches for 137 miles all the way from London to Birmingham. And there's a total of 166 locks along the way. And I'm at just one of them here. As I make my way towards Bulbourne Junction, I've already spotted a heron. It's the same one, it must be the same one I've seen 2 or 3 times now. And I've caught him actually on a previous video you may have seen, photographing herons. Yeah. Yes, he's a bit of a scaredy custard really. I mean, doesn't allow me to get too close. But yeah, it was a lot of overnight rain, so it's pretty muddy here. But as you can see behind me, another lock as we get towards Bulbourne Junction. Currently I'm harassing a heron that's just up ahead of me. Every time I get close, opposite on the other bank of the canal, it takes off. Yeah, not got really a decent shot yet in flight. He's right there. There's no creeping up on this guy as I proceed along. He's always keeping ahead of me. Eventually I'll get a nice shot of it taking off and flying past me. So, back to this morning, and guess what? I spot what must be the same heron, as I'm obviously on its patch. So, action, lights, camera, snap, snap, snap. Eventually I'll reach the Wendover Arm. Did I mention this was an exploration of the Wendover Arm, or a wildlife shoot? Wow, just look at this light. At last I arrive at Bulbourne Junction, and the Wendover Arm is just one of several offshoots from the Grand Union Canal. This building is known as the Bulbourne Dry Dock, where boat repairs, etc. can be carried out. A sort of garage for narrowboats. At Bulbourne Junction, it's over the bridge, then down and under as I leave the Grand Union Canal behind, at last. The Wendover Arm. That's not going to win the Tour de France. Let's step on these guys. At Tringford Road Bridge I cross the road and the canal, continuing on the right hand side. I pass Haygate's factory, long-time millers of flour. Now, where was that self-raising flour we were all desperate for during lockdown? Near Tringford pumping station, the towpath is extremely narrow, so tread carefully here or get wet. Shortly I approach Little Tring Bridge, and it's here that you should leave the towpath, as will very soon become apparent. However, I decide to carry on under the bridge, where the canal turns to the right and abruptly becomes a dead end. And for me it was a most fortuitous decision, as guess what? There's another heron waiting for me. I quickly swap lenses to a telephoto zoom and grab these images as the heron takes flight. Yahoo! I got you, matey! Returning to the bridge, I head up to the road, and as this map shows, follow the very narrow road downhill. At the bottom, bear slightly right and you'll find a footpath going uphill, which avoids a potentially risky walk on the road. At the top, cross over and rejoin the Wendover Arm. Once here, you will notice something very different. Yes, no water. For the next mile or so, it's a dried up riverbed. From Bulbourne Junction to Little Tring Bridge, I've now traversed the only navigable part towards Wendover. As I walk on, the first of two wooden bridges comes into view. Engineering works are evident to see along here. From above, it's bone dry one side and water the other, so work is slowly proceeding on bringing this section back to life. Further along I approach the second wooden footbridge. It's covered in plaques with names of companies and individuals who have donated to the Wendover Arm Trust. Apparently water runs underground during this dry section via a pipeline. That's been fantastic, it really has. Beautiful out here. Lovely morning. But yeah, it's time for me to head off, and next time I'm going to explore it from the opposite direction. On my return trip back to Tring Reservoirs, my old mate the grey heron is across the canal, posing for me. Yes! On my return journey I passed by some of the 9 locks, known as the Marsworth Flight. In part 2 of this trilogy of the Wendover Arm, I shall walk from Drayton Beauchamp to Halton with another early morning start.